You now, Emmanuel, Suquet, good evening to you, and thank you so much for your time.
Good evening, Stephen.
It's an incredibly important building for the people of France. It's one of the oldest buildings perhaps in Europe. What does this mean for people who are French, who come from France?
I think, Stephen, what happened yesterday for French people is probably what you can experience when you lose somebody from your family. I think this is the deep feeling that every French man and women felt yesterday. It is a mere part of our own identity, actually.
It was incredible. There were scenes today and from last night of people coming into the streets and just singing. I mean, that in a way suggests that France, you know, this is an important moment as a nation state for France. This is about a French identity that Notre Dame symbolized.
Exactly. Someone said yesterday among all the comments that you could hear that if you didn't know what a feeling like being French was, now you could feel it with this tragedy, unfortunately. And I want to really thank everyone and to acknowledge the messages of support that we received from all over the world. This is very heartening, and I think it really shows that is the kind of solidarity that proves our common humanity, actually.
Why was this building so important? There's religion on the one side, Catholicism, it's important, but also its age is part of it, and also where it was, it's in Paris.
No, absolutely. I think this is a major part of French history, but it goes way beyond. It is a major part of world history, I would say. This is the most visited site in Europe, actually. 13 million people visit it each year. So for us, it's a great loss. And this cathedral has actually witnessed every major step of French history. You said it, it was built in 1163. It took 200 years to build it, but it witnessed the French Revolution. The French Emperor Napoleon I was crowned in this very cathedral. The General de Gaulle, when France was freed from Nazi oppression, organized a ceremony in this cathedral. So every major event of our collective history has been seen through the eyes of this cathedral, actually.
In other words, it was almost a gathering place. If something very important was happening in France, a marker, an end of something, a beginning of something, you went to Notre Dame. That's what you needed to do, almost like a blessing.
Exactly, and it goes for Catholic belief, but also for the whole of the French people. Just to give you an example, all the calculation of the distances, the official distances in France, has been calculated starting in front of Notre Dame. Every official distances are being calculated from this very point. So it shows you that it really is the heart of French culture and history.
That's an incredible thing. There's been a huge reaction around the world and in France. Your president, Emmanuel Macron, he cancelled a planned address to the nation last night. There's also been a lot of people, I think most of them French, who've pledged huge amounts of money to try and rebuild it.
Yeah, it is very heartening, I have to say. And the French President Macron yesterday said that we will rebuild this cathedral. And I think beyond the sense of loss, this is the kind of hope that makes us live through these days. It will require the time it will need, probably decades, but our determination to rebuild it is 100%. It is a part, again, of our own history.
And obviously there'll be an investigation, perhaps quite a difficult investigation. A lot of people are also paying tribute to the firefighters. Yes, and allow me, please, Stephen, to also pay my tribute to them. 400 firefighters, men and women, yesterday, at the risk of their lives, saved actually this cathedral. There was a moment when we could believe that the whole edifice could have collapsed. And thanks to them, to the risk they took, the facade, the structure, the towers have been preserved. So it gives us great hope for the future to be able to rebuild it. And then there are other items that were saved. I mean, one of the questions, of course, is around Catholic relics. So these are items of historical but mainly religious significance. Do we know yet what has been saved and what hasn't?
So it is also good news that we have here, because the relics and the treasuries that were kept inside the cathedral have been mostly saved. To give you an example of what you were just saying, the cathedral was hosting the crown of thorn that Jesus Christ, wore just before being crucified. So it shows you how profound and how historic the heritage that was in this cathedral.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in. I really do appreciate it. The Deputy Head of Mission in South Africa for the French government, in other words, for the French Embassy here, Emmanuel Suquet. Thank you.